Whis is one of the most powerful beings in Dragon Ball, and paradoxically one of the most restricted if you're actually paying attention, because on paper he's absurd, right? Casual reality manipulation, effortless speed, complete dominance over gods of destruction, but Whis doesn't really act like someone at the top of the hierarchy, and that's not accidental in my opinion. At least at the core of Whis' character, he has a single governing rule: he does not interfere, quote unquote. But this isn't just a guideline, it's really just a philosophy. You see, Whis exists as a stabilizer, not as a participant, I think, in Dragon Ball's universe. He observes, he trains, he corrects systems, but not the outcomes. And that hands-off approach is what creates the paradox. Is Whis powerful because he restrains himself, or limited by that restraint instead? That is the question. There are moments where Whis bends this rule, and those moments matter. Of course, rewinding time to stop Earth's destruction during Revival of F, subtle nudges to guide Beerus, indirectly pushing Goku and Vegeta forward without fighting their battles. You have to notice the pattern, and you probably do. Whis never solves the problem directly. He only restores the possibility for the mortals to have to solve it themselves, and that's not weakness, and I think that's actually structural control that he is showcasing and possessing the ability to do as an angel. But it also means that Whis never truly, I guess, evolves, which is a weird thought, because gods of destruction grow through conflict. Saiyans in the series, they grow through failure. Even Zeno learns through observation. We saw that in the Goku Black Zamasu Future Trunks arc, whichever you want to call it. But Whis, by design, he exists outside that cycle and outside that system, so to speak. So his power doesn't expand because his role doesn't demand expansion, essentially. There's no ceiling to break when you're not climbing to get to the ceiling in the first place, you understand? And that raises, again, another real question. Is Whis' power actually untapped? Or is he already essentially 100% complete? And it depends on who you ask, and it depends on what context you're referring to, whether it's in the manga or something that Akira Toriyama said specifically that was in non-related anime or manga, content in an interview or something like that. You can always quote that. But from a strategic perspective, Whis and his restraint is both the ultimate advantage and the ultimate limitation, and I think that is a good thing to have in the series still, because he never overextends, but he also never loses. But then he also never transcends his traditional function. So he's really not written to surpass something, but he's written to maintain the balance. And again, I think that's important in Dragon Ball of all things, right? Growth only comes through imbalance. So maybe Whis' greatest strength isn't really his power level per se, but his acceptance of stagnation, even for himself, something no Saiyan could ever tolerate. You couldn't tell me any Saiyan in the show, male or female, that would be okay with stagnating. Even if you think a character is lazy, they would never tolerate stagnation to such a point that they could not perform their basic functions as a Saiyan warrior. And some may argue, maybe Gohan during Revival of F, when he did that little power up and he went super, but he went Super Saiyan, y'all. The average human, Gohan is putting you in the morgue, you know what I'm saying? Even at that point, at that strength level, as weak as he was, he's still putting you in the morgue, even no matter how much you go to the gym, no matter how strong you are, bro. You know what I mean? All of us, we still would not stand a chance as modern day Earthlings. So I still think there's an important message and a theme there, that Saiyans still at some point, even at the lowest point, are stronger than we ever would be. So stagnation is only going to be stagnation to such an extent. But Whis, he exists, like I said, outside of the cycle, and because the universe allows him to essentially do so. And again, it's kind of the big paradox in Dragon Ball, but that should not remain unchanged even once we have Beerus. The anime make its return. I don't know why we're getting a fourth rendition, essentially a Battle of Gods again, but it looks freaking awesome, so be it. And then obviously Galactic Patrol, we know what's going to happen in these things, right? We're just seeing it visually animated. There's going to be some differences here and there, but yeah, I'm excited to see Whis back on the big screen. So you feel free to let me know your thoughts on this. Beerus truly mastered destruction power Beerus isn't just strong, right? His destructive abilities are obviously legendary, but really, how did he master that god level power? Well, for one, I think it was his rigorous training under Whis, as seen back in Dragon Ball Super episode 18. Beerus hones not just his strength, but he shows precision and restraint back then, and I think learning to unleash that type of energy without losing control or wasting energy and time is much harder to do than what it looks like on screen. And Beerus being able to do that as a god of destruction as the others are, that tells you what type of training they have to go through. And last but not least, I think Beerus has experienced a lot through his judgment. His role as a god of destruction has forced him to really evaluate countless civilizations and threats across the galaxy. He's been constantly exposed to things that's forced him to refine his instinct, his key manipulation, what he should destroy, what he says isn't his problem, and it's more difficult than I think it appears to maintain that divine balance. Unpacking Lord Beerus' true weaknesses and fears. Now, Lord Beerus may be the god of destruction of Universe 7, but even he has vulnerabilities that we've kind of seen, but we don't know what those are to a T. What could those weaknesses actually be around? Well, number one, overconfidence can obviously backfire. We've seen Beerus' arrogance. We've seen that highlighted back in the earlier Dragon Ball Super episodes, and it kind of leaves them vulnerable to surprises, especially from fighters who think creatively or unpredictably. It would create a scenario where a fighter who's not on Beerus' level at all could put Beerus in a compromising position only for a short period of time, and that's only because, again, of Beerus' overconfidence. Funny he shares that with Goku. Maybe he sees that in Goku himself. Number two, emotional attachments are rare, but dangerous. Now, while he hides it, Beerus is fond of obviously food and occasional mortals, and can manipulate his decisions based off of what he feels at critical moments. And his relationship with Son Goku, Bulma, and other characters you may want to reference, I think, show how he's not just a god of destruction that's completely heartless and just does not care at all about the state of anything happening in Universe 7, let alone Earth. He's still very invested in more of a way that he would let on. So in short, his fear isn't just power. I would say it's more so him losing control, being surprised, and having some rare attachment of his, like a relationship, be exploited in a way that makes him look weak. So, will Vegeta finally be treated as Goku's equal in the return of Dragon Ball's anime, which will be the Galactic Patrol? And again, Beerus, we're getting like Battle of Gods for the 4th time. Still can't get over that. But let's be honest here. Vegeta has never lacked power, so that's not the conversation. But what he has lacked, if I'm going to be honest right from the jump, I would say it's presentation. Hear me out. The distinction matters a lot more than people realize, because with Dragon Ball officially returning, the Galactic Patrol arc getting animated, Ultra Ego being on the way, Beerus is back in focus, the real question is not going to be if Vegeta is strong. We know how strong he is. It's whether the anime will finally frame him in that way differently than what we see it in the manga. Because again, if you've read the manga and you're caught up to this point, you already know all of this. Ultra Ego is not just another transformation. It's a literal philosophical shift for his character. So unlike Ultra Instinct, which is about detachment and flow, Ultra Ego is about acceptance of damage, pride, and combat growth through adversity. It's Vegeta embracing who he actually is, not copying Goku, of course, not chasing him, and walking his own parallel path. And on paper, that makes Vegeta actually terrifying, but you see, here's the issue. Historically, the Dragon Ball anime has softened Vegeta's dominance compared to the manga. His wins are shorter, his moments are often transitional, his breakthroughs, when they exist, well, they're rarely allowed to breathe, right? And that's why I think this Ultra Ego thing is going to matter so much more, because if it's animated correctly, which I'm sure it will be, Ultra Ego forces the anime to linger on Vegeta's strength. It's not flashy speed, it's not instant mastery, it's controlled destruction and punishment. And that kind of power can't be rushed without losing its true impact and what that will mean for us as the audience as well. So this Galactic Patrol arc, again, the first real opportunity I think the anime has had in a long time to reframe Vegeta as more than just Goku's shadow, it starts here. And especially when you factor in his training path, the mindset, and the fact that his power now scales through damage, not just perfection alone. If the anime actually commits to that and commits to this the way it should, if it lets Vegeta struggle and then adapt, and then dominate on his own terms, we could finally, for the first time in our lives, and it's crazy. It's not crazy for some people to probably think that, unfortunately, with Akira Toriyama's passing now, like, maybe this is, there are different people doing different things. I don't think Akira hated Vegeta. He just never understood his character the way the audience did, right? And he made a character that he didn't expect the audience to love almost more than the protagonist in some instances and some fan bases, right? So you can't blame a man for creating something so awesome, right? You just cannot. I just don't think you can do that. But again, we'll finally see a Vegeta that's going to be, I think, on less of the back foot and more on equal footing, and not just being a secondary character, because it's not that, you know, he has to surpass Goku or anything like that, but he doesn't feel the need to, right? Ultra Ego isn't even about winning every fight. It's really about Vegeta claiming, I think, finally the ownership of his role in Dragon Ball's future. And if the anime understands that, finally for the first time, I think that this might be the strongest and most respected version of Vegeta's character we have seen. And again, it's just sometimes when you allow certain people or different ideas to actually come to the board, sometimes you can get things that you maybe were going to take longer to get if you stuck to the traditional route, or maybe you would have never got, depending on what the circumstances initially were. I think that's the point I was trying to make. So I'm super excited for Ultra Ego's return, to see it on the anime. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of talented people in the community that have done stuff about it. Okay, that's not the same as seeing the actual official, like, this is really what it looks like. This is really what the creators and everyone involved and who are still carrying out Akira Toriyama's will, I'm sure, for what he put all of his life into. Yeah, I cannot wait to see that canon, that real version of that actually hit the screen. So looking forward to it. Yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts in this comment section below. We shall take it from there. But as always, stay tough, stay strong, stay in the fight. I am there with you all the way. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.